iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Got a pot and a pan and no idea what to do. Hey Siri, how do I make a delicious, nutritious meal?
Are you looking for a delicious, nutritious meal that's easy to make?
Yes, lay it on me.
Well, today I'm going to show you how to make chicken fricassee with roasted summer vegetables. Another super simple recipe from the Easy Peasy Kitchen. Easy peasy, this recipe is tried and true. Easy peasy, the monkeys can do it, so can you.
Perfect.
Not only does our show broaden the definition of family to include divorce, but to include everything in a 2020 world and say you can redefine family to include everyone. And that's why this story is worth re-exploring in 2020, because it really does tap into something profoundly important.
I would say it's about family, it's about love, it's about a father doing whatever he can so he can be with his kids at any cost, and the hijinks that he kind of gets into because of that, but at the end of it all, it's about love. It's about love and family.
It really is quite miraculous how they've managed to take the source material and create what feels like a very original show. It's like it should have always been a musical. You get to flesh out these characters a lot more. There's a little more time to spend with each of them because we get 2 acts, 2.5 hours.
Cool. I think the challenge for us was not to put the film on stage, was to make it a genuine theatrical experience, to find big set piece numbers, to find things that you couldn't do in a movie or in the original book. And these guys, have written some amazing set piece numbers as well as some very emotional songs.
I was excited and a little skeptical because I was like, all right, now we know Mrs. Doubtfire, we love it. How is this going to be? But it's been a wonderful experience.
Absolutely. It is such a brand and so many people are enamored of it. But Seattle proved they just crackers about it.
Oh, we had a lot of responsibility, We had a movie that everyone loves and remembers and can quote lines from, and we needed to tell the story so it did the same thing on stage. And it's a challenge. I was going to use a different word, but there's a lot of work in making sure, because you can do things on stage that you can't do on film. You can do things on film you can't do on stage. And yet you need to find an equivalent way of telling a great story to keep an audience, a Broadway audience, interested and caring.
I was very surprised as to how little actually had to be done to this piece. Because again, the story we're telling is universal. It's about family. It's about trying to keep a family together. It's about trying to heal those connections and all that stuff. And that never changes. It's probably never changed since the beginning of time in that way. So other than perhaps specific references to what's going on in the world, or now we have cell phones, which of course play a part. But I was shocked at how much of the piece just naturally felt very today and did not take a lot of tweaking at all.
First of all, this cast has become a part of my family. We have all gotten so close so fast, especially in Seattle, and our new friends who have come to join us for Broadway, we've all really gotten so close. And to be working with Jerry Zaks, who is literally a genius, to learn from him every single day is the most incredible gift in the world.
Well, what we have been gifted with is more time. Both Sally Field and Pierce Brosnan, they were fit into a 90-minute movie, which was obviously a vehicle for Robin Williams and that comedy. So they didn't have the time to explore other parts of the story, and we do.
Kevin McCullum, who was our producer on Something Rotten, old friend of ours, longtime friend, came to us and said, what do you guys think about this? And with a little bit of trepidation, because it's such a beloved movie, we took a look at it and went, you know what, this really sings because of the emotion in it. Guy who would go to great lengths to do anything to be with his kids. That was something that we could all really relate to, because we're all fathers, kind of first and foremost. So we felt like this is something we could write. It's got the emotional oomph to write songs about, and then it's also funny. So it had all the ingredients, and we thought, yeah.
I just sort of stayed away from rewatching the movie and just wanted to remember what I remembered and pick and choose what sort of stayed with me as something, to put in the show. And the music dictates the style of the choreography on some level, and I like to put myself inside of it in different ways, and so there's all kinds of things going on up there.
And then this cast, I mean, Brad Oscar, Peter Bartlett, you have these comic geniuses, and J. Harrison Ghee has been such, his character is barely existent in the film, and he is such a anchor in this story of humanity and love and light. His character is so wonderful. Jen Gambatese, who plays Miranda, she has the just as big shoes to fill with Sally Field, and she does it with such warmth and such humanity. And I'm really lucky with the kids, Analise Scarpaci, Jake Ryan Flynn, and Avery Sell, because they're not your typical theater kids. They're real actors with amazing voices, and they're funny, and they've got huge hearts, and it's an honor playing their dad.
I think the show is hilarious, and it's also very heartwarming, but the main message of the show is that there are all different types of families, but as long as there's love, everything's going to be all right.
It's important, like when you're walking out of the theater, know, like, if you have gone through a divorce, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay as long as there is love.
All at once the adults are smoking. Now I'm a kid in a home that's broken. They can fix all that they did wrong. So this is my life. Is this just great? Is this just swell? What the hell?
I'm not supposed to see that word. It's an that word.
Yeah? Well, the grown-ups aren't supposed to act like children. So the way I see it, all bets are off.
I love actors. I used to be one. I adore Rob, I adore Brad, and I actually love the entire company. It's been made clear to them right from the beginning that the rehearsal room is a safe place and everyone treats everyone else with respect. And that's the way it's turned out. As a result, we have a great team, led by Rob and Jen Gambatese and Brad, who you mentioned, and the other principals, that just... everyone is talented, but they're also decent. And so we end up telling a story that has a lot of heart. And it's pretty funny.
It has been a masterclass for me. Every day at work, we have fun. We laugh so hard. Rob McClure and his improvisational skills, and every day is something new. And we're learning constantly and sharing and growing together as a family and as a cast. And it's amazing, really.
Yeah, it's very special. I mean, you really are working with people at the top of their game. Everybody really is, and everybody comes prepared and ready to dive in and free of ego in a way, because the room is a safe place, and Jerry, our director, has made sure that is the case. And so you just get everybody ideally working at their optimal level, and then you create something hopefully for the ages.
But Dreamcast, I mean, these kids that are just amazing, the ensemble, all the principals, and Brad Oscar, who we got to work with on Something Rotten too, to have him back. We've got some old friends and some new friends.
Every number has its own flavor. So there's a giant tap break in the number, a big tap routine that you just witnessed. There's a giant hustle number where we're sort of turning Daniel into Mrs. Doubtfire, and it's like a 1970s extravaganza with disco balls and the hustle. And there's a girls power number, and there's a giant hip hop number. There's a flamenco number. We're really doing lots of different styles of dance inside the piece.
Really, truly, as long as there is love, you can get through anything. And it might not be easy along the way, but if you can come back to being present with each other and listening to each other.
There's if you could put this into words, there's the closeness that you kind of just, especially in New York, I feel like a lot of people tend to exist in me zone, kind of put the blinkers on and just survive each day. Get out of my way, I'm walking here. And it just opens your heart, opens your mind, opens your eyes to see other people, especially those who are nearest and dearest, and just take them in and allow a little more time for them and allow yourself to be seen. And I think that just makes people feel love and a sense of family and closeness and community.
Anyone can identify with any kind of difficult period they're moving through, and come out to the brighter side, which indeed happens here in a very real, not goopily sentimental way, which is wonderful, and that's all to Jerry Zaks.
Previews begin March 9th. We go into performances on April 5th. Get your tickets now, pulpits.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.